All right, find your sheets, get out your homework.
We did have homework last night. So we'll have to slow up. No.
No, it's because I was looking for a writing comment with my brother.
All right, any questions on the homework? Trace.
Number 8.
Number 8. All right, so it says a creator, right, receives royalties. Once again, the big formula is P is equal to percent times B. 8% royalty. Okay, that's easy. So that's 0.08. I got my percent there. Selling each game sold. So he gets 8% of each game sold. The company that produces the game receives the remaining amount. Hey, if the guy gets 8%, guess what the company gets?
92%.
Okay. And the only reason I asked that because it says if the gaming company gets $10.10 per copy, how much? What is the selling price? Okay. The easiest way to solve this is, well, it says that he gets 8%, but we can easily see that the company gets 92%, and then it tells us that the company receives $10.10. Well, that's easy. There's $10.10. And there's your X. That's how I would probably solve it, rather than doing it the other way around. Well, then I don't know how much any of that stuff is. But you do know that if he gets 8% and the company gets 92%, and it already tells us the company gets $10.10, so therefore we can find the original price by that right there. Who's got a calculator? 1010, and it's I really do 10.1 divided by 0.92. So it's dollars and cents, so it makes sense, pun intended, to round it 2 decimal places. So $10.98 is what the book says. Now, if you chose to, Jace, just so you know, if you chose to solve it with the given information, which is he gets 8%, okay, the problem is that I don't know how much he gets. I know the company gets 10.10, so we would have the original price minus 10.10. That would be how much he gets, and then you have that X over there. Okay, it's just a more complicated algebra problem, but you could solve that with what you guys know how to do. I believe this is how the book would want you to solve it. I'm like, heck with that. I don't want too many. And I got 2 X's running around, right? You know that he gets 8%, the company gets 92%, and it tells you how much the company gets, 10.10. But solving this one, we'll get exactly the same answer. All right, anybody else? All right, number 2, $102.60. Number 4 is $12. Number 6 is 16%. We just did number 8, which was $10.98. And number 10 is $38.15. And that's it. All right. Grayson is going to come around, collect, and hand out. Give the stuff to hand out to somebody else. Hey, I'm going to warn you. Today's lesson is everything that we've learned using a different formula. And it's not really different. Listen, please. It's the same formula. What they try to do is they try to pull in everything that we've done, the entire chapter, and give you one formula. It's like, well, why didn't you do this from the start? Well, our book chooses not to do that. I'm going to just say, you already know all the formulas that you need. If you like what we're about to do, use it. If you don't like what we're about to use the old formulas. I'll just say most people do use the formula I'm about to show you, because it gives you one formula to do basically everything. But I know it's a hard sell for 8th graders of, why did you just teach me one way and now you're going to show me a completely different way of doing the problem? Well, it has commonalities with the other way, but what it likes to do is say, all of this involves this one formula. Why don't you use this one formula? Now, why didn't they choose to do that from the start? Because the core understanding of what's going on requires you to use the previous formulas, right? But you can make your life a little bit easier using this formula, and that's kind of even a stretch. I don't think it makes your life that much easier. What we're basically going to do is we're going to set up a proportion for all the problems that we've done so far. Everything from percents to royalties and discounts. It's going to be one proportion to solve everything. If you like it, use it. If you don't like it, use the old method. It's kind of up to you. All right. I need to get this off on freeze. One final, oh, not a final, but every day I'm going to say, hey, e-learners, remember, you must take your test on the day it's given. I didn't say you had to take it exactly at the same time, but you got to take your test. Your math test is on Thursday. If you do not take your math test on Thursday, if you wait to Friday, you get a 0. Your history test is on Monday. If you don't take your history test on Monday, you get a 0. If you run into any computer problems or something's going on at home that you are unable to take your test, you need to get on the phone and give Liberty Tree, the front desk, a call and say, hey, my computer just crashed. My dog ate my computer. Whatever it is that your excuse of why you can't take your, obviously then you're running to the vet because your computer ate your dog ate your computer.
My computer ate my dog. Okay.
That would be a big issue, right? But you need to, here's the schedule, e-learners. Monday is just one test, history. It's a full day for us in-person people. The test is between 7th and 8th period. You got to talk to your history teacher when he's going to post it. I know for me, I'm going to post my test, the 30 minutes before the people in here take their test. So on Thursday at 9:30 is when my test will go live. You want to take it at 9:30? That's fine. If you want to wait till 9:30 at night, that's fine for me, but it has to be in by midnight on the day that it's due, right? Yes.
Can e-learners come into school?
They could come into school and take the test as well too. That's up to them. All right. All right. For everyone, including e-learners, we're going to do a review on Friday and Monday. On Friday, we'll do chapters 1 through 3, and then on Monday, we'll do chapters 4 through 6. We will review the entire chapter 7 on Thursday. So that chapter 7 will be out of the way. And then we'll do, notice there's no physical or no actual chapter 7 tests. Normally they did the test right here. I'll just put the chapter 7 questions on the semester final. Probably fewer than I normally would, okay? The final is going to be, for me, multiple choice. I haven't made it up, but usually it's around, 80 to 100 questions. You got 90 minutes to take it. I know I'm repeating myself. I make it so that the average student can take it in 60 minutes. Right? A slow student will use all 90 minutes. A fast student can get it done in 45 minutes or so. So if you're a fast student, make sure you bring in something to read or to study for another class. Obviously, you have your science test after my test. All right, here we go. Thing that we know running, obviously, these are all word problems, by the way, but the ones that say problems are more in the flavor of a word problem, like you see here on the sheets. I want to reiterate, I'm not showing you technically anything new. We're going to do the same problems. You're going to be dealing with percents. You're going to be dealing with royalties, the same stuff we've been dealing with. It's just a different formula. And the reason why they give you a different formula is because you get to use this one formula to solve them all. So in their minds, they think that this makes your life easier. It might. If you like this formula, like, wow, this makes my life easier, then use it. If you want to use the other way, even for tonight's homework, you can. It's up to you. And when I show you the form, you're going to say, wait, that's the same old form. Yeah, it's just a different form. That's kind of where I think it. I'm not saying this is a waste of time. It's just that I don't think it necessarily does everything that it says it's doing. Like it makes your life so much easier. It's the same amount of steps, just in a different form. All right, here we go. Percents and proportion. We've been doing percents and proportion the whole darn chapter. Okay. Have you noticed that when you've done this percent problems, right, where you've had a number and you divide it by another number and then you get the decimal, what's the last step for percent problems? Okay, there's been some math here that requires you to do this extra step. So for all percent problems, your last step is always move it 2 decimal places right. And by the way, all the ones that don't involve percent, your first step is always change the percent into a decimal. So there's always been this extra step involved. All we're going to do now is get rid of this extra step. We're going to give you a formula that does everything that we've already done, and it skips this steps. In other words, you don't have to remember to move the decimal place either from 0.08 to 8% or vice versa. So the only thing this formula does is gets rid of this. Good thing, bad thing. So the good side of this is the fact that you don't have, there's no chance of you forgetting to do this because it's built into the formula. Like you won't have to change from a decimal to a percent or percent to a decimal because it will be in the formula. The bad thing is that, well, I'm kind of like reteaching you how to do all these problems again with a different formula. So you just got to ask yourself, is this worth the extra effort of learning a different formula to do something I've already been able to do? Okay, I'll let you make that decision. So once again, percent, right, is when you take this number, divide it by this number, and you move a decimal place 2 times. So percent, well, wait a minute, what's the definition of percent?
1/4.
Something over 100, right? So something over 100. So I could write this as this, and this is like the earth-shattering thing they want you to realize, is that percent is something written over 100. And as soon as I say that, I get this nice proportion that I can cross multiply to solve. Well, there you go. That's the formula right there. And like, well, wait a minute, that's not a formula. Those are just numbers. So all I'm going to do now is take this form right here, and we're going to place those values or those variables that we're using. By the way, the formula that you used last night, what were the letters we used? PB percent. Well, there's your percent. So one of these is P and one of these is B. So that's all we're doing. Is we're going to take that formula we've been using, we're going to turn it into this formula right here. X over 100 equals something over something. Except that something over something is going to be a P and a B. All right, so that's the formula. This is the old formula. Only thing I'm going to do is eliminate the need to move a decimal place with this new thing. That's all this does. It eliminates the need to, oh, wait, change that to a decimal or change that decimal to a percent. So this is the old formula. By the way, P stood for what?
Percentage.
Or it could, no, well, yes, but what did we say it stood for? Royalty discounts.
The C word.
Right. We also said from 3 sections ago, P stood for is. All of that stuff. Okay. The B stood for the original price, the total price, or the of. Right. So all I'm going to do is divide both sides by B. Right. And you got a new formula. There's the new formula. It's basically this formula. It's not a different formula. Write this down, Jaden, first. We're going to get P over B equals X over 100, then we're going to define what P and B are. What's the purpose of this? I now no longer have to move a decimal place. The P is the is, the B is the of. And like I said, some people immediately say, well, that's much easier. Notice there's no decimals here or anything to move. It doesn't say write this as a decimal, write this as percent, right? You throw one more thing, you're cleaning the whole classroom. Don't throw things. Jaden, do you have it written down?
Yeah.
The whole thing. What's your question?
It's not a question. I was just saying, like, if you have a decimal in your
Leave it.
you could just move it over
No.
and turn it to 1,000.
You just leave it for this formula. So if it's 96.2%, it's 96.2. This X is your percent, not as a decimal, not as I got to do something. It's just whatever you're told is the percent. If it's 40%, X is 40. If it's 32.2%, then x is 32.2. And that's, I don't know if you want to say that's powerful or makes your life easier, but that's their claim. Okay, this is the percentage number, not written as a decimal, just as a regular number. Okay, I kind of see where they're getting the fact that maybe this makes your life a little bit easier. It reduces the necessity of moving a decimal place. But it's the same formula. It's not that different. That's why I said, hey, if you like the old way of doing it, use the old formula. If you like this one, because, hey, I don't have to move a decimal place, kids will sometimes forget to move the decimal place. This eliminates that. So nothing new today, just the original formula in a different manner. And all it is plugging and chugging and using our calculators again. All right? Just to warn you, there's no calculators on the test. Right? So I'm not going to give you 20 of these, but I certainly will give you, one of each. All right, let's see how this works. Now, nothing's hidden right here. I'm just showing you how this works. There is typically one of those numbers will be missing. So this is 50% of 80 is 40. So this is our new formula. The x is your percentage, so x is your 50. P was is or of?
It is.
So which number is?
40.
And that means 80 is the. So I'm not claiming I'm doing anything here. I'm just plugging in some numbers here. Your problems tonight for homework, one of these numbers will be missing. Hey, we've done that before. I forget which section that was, 7.3, 7.4. Because 40 times 100 is 80 times 50. Once again, in this new formula, x is your percentage, p is the is, and b is your of. I'm not doing it. I'm not solving anything yet. I will be in a second. I'm just showing you what it looks like. Once that's settled, are we okay? Now I'm going to erase one of those numbers, and we're going to solve for it. So now I'm going to erase one of those numbers. We're going to solve for it. Oh, by the way, remember how we solved for cross multiplication? Was it this class? Yes, it was Callie that made the statement. She says, I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm just going to do that number times that number divided by this number. But to point out the math behind it, remember the cross products are equal. So this times this equals this times this. But yes, when you have an unknown, yeah, you do the cross that has the two numbers, you multiply, you divide by the third. Am I confusing anyone with that? I mean, yeah, that's what we really do in real life. You want to solve it algebraically, there's how it's solved algebraically. All right, so we got the formula written down, right? A lot of people, instead of doing this, like to write that. Right, so maybe underneath this, what you wrote in box number 1, you write that. And then you got everything you need. And you don't see this in the book, you see this in the book. So I changed it to this only because, well, just where does the is go? Okay, so how about we just write the formula with an is and an of? Well, you can if you flip this one. If you flip this one, you can do that. You can't. That wouldn't be true. Right? 4 over 6 is equal to 8 over 12. If I flip these two, is it still true? 8 times 6 is 8 times 6 is
8 times 6. 48.
If I flip those, is that now true or false? What's 8 times 4?
8 times 4.
Have I found your kryptonite? All I gotta do is ask you about 8s and you fall to pieces.
I'm tired.
Take a deep breath. 8 times 4 is 32, and that's not the same as 6 times 12. So no, you cannot flip them around at your leisure. All right, let's see how this works with a real problem. Clearly, I can't call him James today. Drink some water. Okay. Back up here. So I'm going to use the new formula. If you like the old formula, you can still get the same answer. So there's my formula. What's the easiest number to figure out what it is? Percent always goes to percent. I don't need to write it in a decimal now. Okay, that's supposedly the power of this formula. Is that an is or an of?
Is.
Okay, that one's pretty easy. So the 143 goes on the is, the 65 goes to the x, and there's no decimal place to move. Callie said you do 143 times 100 divided by 65. Okay? Now, granted, with a calculator, this is not even a challenge. Doing this by hand, okay, you're doing some work here. So usually what I do on a test is give you friendlier numbers than that, because I don't have to worry about it. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to come up with the answer even with friendly numbers like 2 and 3. By the way, what's the answer here, somebody?
Oh.
And remember, if you do something with a calculator, you do it twice to make sure you did it correctly. For those of you with the expensive calculators, the nice thing about the expensive calculator is this. When I type it in with an expensive calculator, okay, not only can I see the answer, but I can see what I typed in for the whole problem. And I can, rather than type it in twice, I can say, oh, wait, did I write 143 times 100 divided by 65? I did. So, you know, when you have more expensive calculators, it shows you what you've typed in rather than just an answer. Okay? I'm not trying to sell you a calculator here. What's the answer? Hey, we're not going to move on until someone tells me the answer. How much? 220. Okay. What do you guys got to be tired from?
I don't know.
It's only third period.
Yeah.
I'm tired. You play 4 games all day.
So then you need to sign up for NAP class next year for your elective.
Wait, is there an actually?
There's 3 of them. There's the one that lasts 2 periods, and the one that lasts 1 period. Which one do you want?
2
He's
periods.
being
Okay.
sarcastic.
Ah.
All right.
Wait, there is?
Of course there isn't.
He's being sarcastic.
All right. All right. So up here is the easy of the easy. This is the ones for questions, I don't know, 1 through 8 or something like that. These are the written exercises, right? I'm not going to do many of these. You've done plenty of those. The more challenging ones are the word problems. So we'll spend our time on the word problems.
What percent?
Okay. So this is box number 2. It says in a recent survey, 54 of 120 people preferred the bright light flashlight over other flashlights. What percent of people preferred the bright light? Okay. Whoops, sorry. There's my formula right there. Do we have any percents up here? So that's my X. Okay. I got 2 numbers there. Do I have an is or an of?
You have
I got an of. Which number gets the of?
Probably the 54.
Okay. So you got to read it. 54 of 120. So 120 is your of. So if I use this formula, there's no chance of me putting it in the wrong spot. If I leave it as P over B, well, there's a chance I might screw it up. That's why I like this formula. Okay. So I don't know my percent. The nice thing is there's no moving decimals now. There's just do this proportion. All right, somebody do that proportion for me. Cross multiplication, 54 times 100 equals X times 120.
45.
Divide both sides by 120, and we get
45.
45. But what's that answer? Was that an is?
45%.
There we go. Notice I didn't have to move any decimal. If you use the other formula, P is equal to percent times B, you would have gotten 0.45, and then you would have to move the decimal place, or remember to do it. So the power of this one formula is no moving decimal places. I mean, I can kind of see, I'll just say, this is the formula I use, by the way. I don't use the other one. Because this one requires me to do, at least with a calculator, the least amount of work. I don't have to remember to move any decimals. If I do this by hand, they're both equally challenging. Because moving a decimal place twice isn't really, technically it's multiplying by 100, but it's not like I'm going to be doing any work, right? All right, I will show you a challenging one. There will be a couple challenging ones tonight for homework. This is only for discounts only. There's, I think, one problem tonight on discounts. All right, the discount is the is. The discount, like there's $10 off, not 10%, $10. The discount is the is, the original price is the of. You got to remember that. Andy, you writing this down? You don't have what? You can ask at any point. Sorry. Okay, so for discounts and discounts only, discount is your is, the original price is your of. Okay, so let's see how that works. Your sales price, right? Remember, would be the original price minus the discount. You got to remember both of these, right? Your discount is your is, the original price is your of, and your sales price would be the difference of the original price and the discount. There's $10 off a $40 pair of jeans. Jeans now cost $30. The sales price is $30. The discount is $10. Does that make sense? All right. We'll see. It says the price of an MP3 player, if those even exist now, has been discounted 25%. The original price was $59. What's the sales price? We ignore all is and of. We're doing discounts. So we know that discount is the is, the original price is the of, and the sales price is original minus your discount. Well, let's see what we got. Well, we got a percent. That's easy. That goes there.
1.4.
We got the original price. The original price was the is or the of. Okay, so that goes on the bottom. What goes on the top? An is, so that's my x. Okay, but it doesn't ask me what is the discount. What is it asking me?
What's the sales price?
So when I solve for this x, the discount, right, I'm going to have to subtract that from the original price to find my sales price. That make sense? 49 is your original price. That's the of. We said it's 25% off, so your percentage is 25. Like, why did this x move from here to here? Remember, this x right here was percent. Notice in blue here. Okay. Okay. Remember, when you're calculating this particular one, we're calculating for the discount, not the sales price, the discount. So how much is the discount? Calculators. If they were snakes, you would all be dead. So what does that mean? She said 14.75. I said, what does that mean? What's the discount? Use English words, though. Yeah. Right. Because when you say 14.75, it doesn't have any, connotation to it. So in this case, we're talking about money, would say $14.75. That's the discount. So after we do the cross multiplication, 59 times 25 equals x times 100, right? And we solve that, we get to $14.75.
And if you divide that by 100,
Whoa. Why would we do that? What did we just solve for? So the dollars off is how much?
14.7.
Angie's already got it solved, so she didn't get called on. Okay, what does the question ask?
What's the sales price?
How do you figure sales price?
You subtract that from the
From the,
original.
so from the original price now, the sales price would be the original price minus the discount. Hey, we just calculated the discount, it's $14.75. So
$44.
yes or no? You said $44.25. Did she say no?
I got 39.
I got 45. I got
You got
45.
it.
That's three different answers.
It's 14.75. I promise you it's 14.75.
Jaden,
No.
Yes.
drink water.
Why?
You need water.
That's the wrong way.
Wait, let's see what you got.
Okay,
I don't even have
once
a
again, the question doesn't say what's the discount. The discount is $14.75, Jaden. We already said that 3 minutes ago. The question states what's the sales price. The sales price is the original price minus the discount. Once again, your calculator is not your friend. That's why I said multiple times,
I did it.
you do your calculator thing twice. Angie's sticking to her gun. She's saying, no, I got the right answer.
I'm thinking mine.
I'm thinking
14.75.
What was the original price?
$59.
So type that in your calculator.
I did it wrong.
I got 45.
And from that, we're supposed to do what? Subtract the discount. What was the discount?
$14.75.
All right. Well,
Right, I did the
this is close to, let me show you, for those of you that use a bit more common sense, 1475 is awfully close to, what's 59 minus 15? 45. It better be around 45. He said 45. You said
44.20.
okay. So I can make an argument they are definitely close. She did not, but I'm saying it's one of these two for sure. The problem with estimation, which I just did, is it doesn't tell you when the numbers are that close. So I would simply I would do it multiple times in my calculator. When I do the math, I get 44.25.
I did the wrong one.
Okay, questions.
Oh, yeah, I see what I did.
All right.
Actually, I did.
But I will say, using some estimation, I would have said that 45 is a reasonable answer, right? Just not the actual answer. All right. Questions? Are we doing a different formula here? Kind of, sort
I
of.
like this.
But it still is the P is equal to percent times B. It's just in a different form. Okay? All right, here's an easy one to finish up with. All right. What percent of 32 is 20?
So 32 equals X times 20.
There's the formula we're using.
Wait,
Which one is the is? Which one is the of, Brexton?
32 is the and
20 is the is, 32 is your of.
Correct.
Okay. We do the math here. Well, I can do this in my head. 20 times 100 is just 20 with a, how do you do 20 times 100? 2 zeros. So that's 2,000. So it's 2,000 divided by 32. 2,000 is close to 2,100. 30 into 2,100 would be 70. So I know it's got to be close to 70. 62.5, it sounds reasonable. I don't know if it's the answer, but it's reasonable. Is that the right answer? He's saying 62.5%. You're saying 6.25%.
Forgot a zero.
Oh, forgot a zero. Okay. Once again, I said that the 62 was a reasonable answer. When we do the math, we actually do get, in fact, 62.5%. The power of this formula is that there's no movement in decimal. That's it. It's the same math, right? The only thing this does, it reduces the requirement to ever, anytime, move a decimal place. So Jackson says, I don't like it. I'm using the old formula because he's good with that. That's fine. Others of you might say, wait a minute, I like this one better because I have to worry about moving a decimal place. It's up to you. I don't care. Even tonight for homework, you can use the old formula, you use this one. They're technically the same formula, just different forms. Okay? So entirely up to you. One last one call it a day. All right, do this one all by yourself. Box 5. Oh wait, I got a box 6. Never mind. One after that. Oh, I got 2 more. Well, I'm way off. No, we got to do them all. What is 58% of 24? Let's see. Of goes on the bottom. Percent goes where the percent symbol is. And I cross multiply. 24 times 58 is equal to X times 100. I can do that one in my head. I'm getting 13.92. I'm getting 13.92. Yes?
No.
Yes?
No.
What's your answer? Okay. Moving on. All right. Box 6. There's 3 of these left, and then we'll call it a day. All right. So it says Catherine answered 95% of the test questions correctly. So therefore, she got an A. If she answered 38 questions correctly, how many questions were on the test? Ooh, challenging.
38 is the
So here's the problem.
of something.
Is 38 an is or an of?
No, it's 38 of something else.
You see how he logically figured that one out? If it's 95%, of has to be the bigger number. If she got 32, has to be the smaller number. 32 of a larger number would be 95%. So 38 is you're saying is your of or your is. Say that again.
It's the of.
Okay. Let's think this through. Look up here. 100 questions. What's 95% of 100? So 95 of 100 equals 95%. You tell me. Is the larger number the of or the is? The larger number is the of, the smaller number. So is it the smaller number or the larger number? The smaller number. That is your is, not your of. Okay. I like the way you started off. That's why I said, hey, you notice his logic. His logic was pointing in the right direction, but you got to think it through. So your is, you got to be careful, because if you're over 100%, your is can be bigger than your of. What?
So would it be X? So for my formula, would it be X equals?
Is your P the of or the is?
My P, well, my X is the of
X is always the percent. Okay, where do you put the variable?
at the beginning. So for me, it'd be,
Of is your X, yes.
yeah, so the X equals
That's the P.
0.95 times.
See what I'm saying? We're getting kind of lost in the multiple variables here. Yes. Hurry up. All right. So the 38 actually is the smaller number. It's your is in this particular case. Now, if it was over 100%, your is could be larger than your of. But in this case, it's smaller because it's 95%. A little bit of cross multiplication, we get to the answer. Turns out there were 40 questions.
Oh, that's kind of confusing. So I did
Well,
it.
think about it. 38 of 40.
I know, but I put 38 as the of, and I still got
Then you did something wrong. Tell me what you did.
I did 38. I did 38 equals 0.95.
Yeah, because 38 is the is. That's correct for your formula. It does go there.
What
Oh,
are you
it does.
doing?
Oh, I thought you just said
P is the is. B is the of.
Yeah.
On your formula, looks like this.
Yeah.
That's is, that's of.
It sounded like you just told me that.
Okay. All right. Two left. Here we go. Flower shop received 40 plants on Wednesday. By Friday, 33 of the plants had been sold. What percentage of the plants was sold? 33 of something, right? It can't be. You can't have 33 of 18.25. How do you have 33 of 18?
So when you do the 30,
How can you have 33 of 18? Of is how many you have. You can have 16 of 18, right? You can't have 33 of 18. You can have 18 of 33.
but then when you
Let's do the math. Okay, so think about this. It says you received 40 plants, right? I got 40 plants. You sold some. What are the possibilities of how many you sold? I could have sold, what's the least I could have sold? What's the max I could have sold? So this number here is going to be somewhere between 0 and 40. Clearly, it's going to be smaller than 40, or it's going to be 40 exactly. You sell 40 of 40, you've sold 100%, right? Easy math. It says you sold 40, and by Friday, 33 of the plants had been sold. Hey, guys, stop. It tells you how many you sold. You sold 33 of them. How many did you start with? So this problem says 33 of 40 is some percent. That's the skill that you got to be able to do, is think this through logically. 33 of 40 is some percentage. What's that percentage? Okay, well, let's set the problem up. Of 40, well, clearly that's your of. That means 33 is your is. But here's the problem. Why am I pointing to this? People that will get this wrong will immediately say, well, I saw an of. Remember, on the word problems, the is, the of go away. Right? The of could be just, it's English language thing. We could use an of or we could use an is. You've got to be really careful. The time the time where we can use the is and the of directly are on these problems, the simple ones. On the simple ones, yeah, the number next to the word of is the of. But on the word problems, because we can use the English language in lots of different ways, you have to be careful. So it turns out that the 33 is not the of, it's the is. How did I figure that out? I thought about it logically.
Oh, that's right.
You were not right.
That's wrong.
I have the answer.
All right, what's the answer?
82.5.
82.5% is what she's claiming.
That's what I said.
You said nothing close to that.
Oh my god.
Remember, this is being recorded. If you'd like, I can play the recording.
Yes, please.
I'm pretty sure he said 18.
I said 82.5.
You
I
said
said
82.
82. Here, if I go back in the history,
All right,
I'm gonna go back.
last one. Here we go. A water purifier is discounted 20% off the original price. So it's one of those discount ones. Okay. The original sales price for a savings of $6.96. What is the original price of the purifier? What is the sales price? Oh, it's asking us two questions. It's asking us, you guys need to stop and pay attention. If all three of you had A's, I wouldn't be telling you that.
I got it.
What was wrong with the statement I just made? Okay, thank you. All right. Says the water purifier was discounted 20% off the original price for a savings of $6.96. Look through your notes that you just took. Right? 4 or 5 slides ago that Landon has nothing written on his paper. Right? I said for discount, what goes where?
Discount goes is the is
And what's the of? Original price. So it says, what's the original price? Clearly, you don't know what it is. That's going to be our X. Okay? But it does say the discount was $6.96. Good to go. So we are solving now for the original price. That's half of the answer. Everybody see that? If you don't have what he has written on his paper, see how quickly he was able to tell me that? He didn't memorize that. He just looked at a piece of paper. Okay? Maybe you get it memorized, maybe you don't. But remember, you can always have a resource card. I'm going to say most of you are going to forget this within 2 hours of this class, right? You're going to need to have it written on a resource card.
34.
Right. All right. It's 2 questions, not 1.
Oh.
All right, let's see. That'd be 6.96 times 100. That's 696.
Yeah.
Well, that's close to 700. 700 divided by 20 is what? 35-ish?
34.
So that is a reasonable answer. Okay? So when I solve this, I get this great, that's your original price. But what does it say?
What is the sale?
Well, how do I figure out sales price?
Oh, you have to do that minus that.
I have to use words instead of this and that.
The original price minus the savings. No.
You had it right.
Yeah,
The original price minus the savings.
Mhm.
27.2.
So let's see, that's 35. 35 minus 7 is 28-ish.
27.8.
27.80.
And I said it had to be around 28. That sounds like a reasonable answer.
$27.
Okay. So once you do that math, which is original price minus sales price, you get $27.84. Right? For those of you that have been struggling this entire chapter, right? Here's another, I don't know, 2 ways of thinking about this. Another formula that confuse you, another formula that if you like it, can help you. You want to use the old method? It's really technically this method as well. You can use it. If you want to use this method, you can use it. I'm showing you 2 different formulas to solve the same problem. It's up to you to pick which one you like. Any questions on anything I've done so far? Donovan, are you here today?
Okay.
Yep.
All right, questions?
Nope.
All right. Hey, how did I start off this chapter? What speech did I give you?
Like today?
No, the chapter. What speech did I give you? I said that all the formulas are the same. I finally got to where listen please, where I've shown you that. hey, this is the formula to solve everything. So one formula, I don't know if the Lord of the Rings, a metaphor here, one formula to solve all problems. The issue is that you will forget this. Not having a resource card, and then specifically on your resource card, having an example, especially this one of a discount. This is the weird one. The rest of them all have is's and of's, and they're pretty easy. But the ones for that have the discount, because it has this one extra step of original price and discount, and where they go, you can quickly forget where they need to go. You have an example written right next to the formula. My belief is that you will do much better than if you try to just walk in the class. I'm like, I'll remember this stuff. Probably not. All right. We got 4 minutes left to go. Sit there quietly. All right, Donovan, no questions. I'm going to let you go.
Okay, bye, guys.
We turn the camera off.